Oh dear. There we go. The game was not showing up. But we are good now. Welcome along everybody to a sort of cloudy and gloomy day in Spain for GRS F2. As we're starting out with qualifying, and I'm already seeing a couple people coming out of the pit lane nice and early on, is this foreboding of some rain to come. Remains to be seen, but we're at least going to get a nice amount of action early on. 18 drivers in, and I think someone else was about to join in qualifying, so we're going to have a nice and healthy grid today. And I think that's everything up that needs to be up. So who is out of the pit lane first? It's the Mercedes of Callum Pierce. So Spain as a circuit, kind of a basic cookie cutter sort of track. I feel like it's pretty usually on the easy side. So I think the best spots today are going to be going to the ones that make the fewest mistakes, because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of chaos or spins or mistakes or anything like that today, but you never know with F2. Could go either way, but consistency is always a good priority to have. So we've already got about half the grid on their outlaps already, and that Williams behind is looking to steal the spotlight from Callum Pierce, so we're going to be watching Swan McMoore as he's heading around turn 12, and obviously the tire's not quite up into their temperature window yet, goes a little wide, and he's going to be going around the final few corners to start off the first flying lap of the day. Of course, 13 and 14 being pretty much flat in qualifying. So we'll see what Swan McMoore can do for us today. He got a podium on track last week, if I do remember rightly. I think that ended up getting taken away in stewarding, so looking to bounce back from that one. But he's been showing some fairly decent pace for himself as he's heading through the turn 1-2 chicane. Can you really call that a chicane? It's a right-left, but it's kind of a big sequence of corners to call a chicane. But anyway, up through 3, going through 4. 4 opens up, so we'll see drivers take an early apex and run out wide, and then the downhill left-hander of 5, easy to lock or brake. Heading into 6 and 7, also don't really know if you can call it a chicane, but very easy to make the rears slide there a little bit, so we might see someone do that. Turn 9 always flat out in qualifying, the uphill right-hander, heading down to the hairpin of 10, another opening corner. So we'll see drivers go early in and out wide on the exit. Just coax the car through 12. Can't really be on the throttle too early or too late through there. Then it's flat through 13. We'll see some lifting through 14 in the race, but I think in qualifying, as long as the drivers can get it in early enough, they'll be able to take it pretty much flat. Moore did just invalidate, so we'll go to Callum Pierce, who sets the first time of a 1:11.7. which is immediately bested by Bad Cali, who goes a 10th, 100th, and 1,000th of a second faster than Callum Pierce. So just about the same time between those two. So obviously we're going to be very, very close together here today in qualifying, as everyone except 2 cars is out on the track right now, which I guess it's a good thing that Spain is a somewhat long track, so can actually handle that many cars at once. Zadrazil is about to start a lap, as is his teammate of Bakalik, so can we get the Alfa Romeo? Is that Caleb White? Yes, it is. About to be finishing up his lap. Heading through 13 and 14 now. Early in, and I'm sure he's not in 4th gear right now, as the steering wheel says, a 1:12.3 for White. And then we have the Williams about to cross the line next of Lastowskis, who heads it up into P9, and then it's going to be the Alpha Tauri of Spanswick about to start a lap, so we'll keep a close eye on the timing towers while we see the lap of Spanswick. We're about to see a McLaren cross the line, starting his lap. Everyone nice and out of sequence right now as Ade once again flies under the radar with a 1:11.6 and jumps up to the top of the timing towers. Is Ade a Ferrari driver? I feel like I remember him being in a different car. Anyway, hop on board with Harry Spanswick. We've seen some good pace from him before, as we're heading through the left-hander of 5, using all the curb on the exit on driver's right. Then coax it in early for 7. be careful on the throttle as he gets the power down. Maybe a little wide of the apex in 9. It's easy to go in and take that nice and aggressively. That is now full-time Ferrari after Lavinius retired. Okay, good to know. As we are watching Spanswick head through 13 and now flat through 14, just a downshift for the AlphaTauri driver, charging up to the line and up into P5 for him. Who else can we see? Not Calvi, Hawes. George Hawes. Got to get the McLarens in order. Who goes up to the top of the tower with a 1:11.6 as well. Just a couple thousandths of a second faster than Ade. Nice and close today in qualifying already. That's always good to see. Alright, Zdrazil's out on another flyer, it looks like. No, that looks like an in-lap, actually. Who can we pick up? It is going to be Bagkali leading this group. No, it's not. It's going to be the Williams of Moore leading this group. We've already watched him today. I'd like to watch someone else. Who's out on track right now that we can... Who's about to be starting a lap? Yeah, we'll go to Bakalik. As Bakalik seems to be having a tough time at getting through 7 and 8 on his outlap. Let's hope that does not translate into the race or his flying lap to come. Still a few drivers yet to take their laps. Although they are out on the track right now. As Adam Bradshaw has retired on the exit of turn 2. And the entrance to turn 3. Very nicely done, Bradshaw. Anyway, Bakalik starting his lap. Let's see what he can do. And Bradshaw just saying whoops in the chat. On board with Bakalik, is that a slow Mercedes up ahead, or is he on a fast lap? I would assume he's on a slow one right now. And has to pick a direction to go to get out of Bakalik's way. Fortunately enough, you can pretty much take the inside or the outside of turn 3. Into 4 we go. And very, very wide through 5. Might have just locked the inside front brake there. Easy to do. That's going to lose him a few tenths. I'm sure that's going to lose him a few more tenths, actually. And I was hoping that it wasn't going to mess up his flying lap, but it sure did. So unfortunately, Bakalik will have to go again at some point. Lucas Rudd is right behind him, not on a fast one. We can catch back up with Swanwick Moore, however, who's about to be finishing up his lap. About to be going to the pit lane correction. Oh, he missed the pit lane. Was he trying? Interesting. Well, he's going to be setting a time. What's it going to be for Swanwick Moore as he charges up to the line? It's a 1:30.8 blistering time from Swanwick Moore. That is an unbeatable pole position for him. The McLaren is about to cross the line. That is the wrong McLaren. That's the right McLaren. And he is about to be crossing the line 2 seconds down on his previous best. How about the Mercedes of Rudd? He was on a slow one. That's right. Now everyone going to be crossing the line. Who's up next? Twan was up next. I was trying to find him on the timing tower to cut to him. It's a 1:11.6 for Twan. Half a tenth faster than Hawes. And we have just under 9 minutes to go, and it's already been quite the flurry of action, hasn't it just been? Let's see who is on a flyer right now. Is that Caleb White about to be heading around 13 and 14? Rudd even faster than Swanwick, yes. As Caleb White jumps it up into P6, 1:11.8. Everyone very close to together. The top 3 in the 6s, next 2 in the 7s, next 2 in the 8s. Nobody in the 1:11.9s, however. I'm sure Spanswick is going to be looking for that. Who else is going to be? Oh, Callum Lyons has lost his main. As Ade, once again, just not finding Ade out on track when I really need to. Jumps it back up into P1 with a 1:11.5. Okay, next McLaren across the line is that Calvi. It is Hawes. About to start a lap, I believe. Let's get the telemetry up. Yep, about to start a lap, so we'll keep an eye on him. Finding... Oh, my goodness, nice voice crack. Finding some time through Sector 1 is George Hawes. As he is up about a tenth of a second heading into turns 7 and 8. Looks to have the rear nice and planted through turn 8. Flat through 9 up the hill. DRS open for George Hawes' McLaren as he heads into the hairpin of turn 10. And it seems he has lost some time, in fact, because now the Delta is in the wrong direction. Can Hawes find any time through Sector 3, I wonder, as we head into the final corner. It's a lift and a downshift for him. Not quite optimal, and down over a tenth of a second. How about Olami behind him, about to start a lap? That's right on board with the Red Bull driver. Hopefully he can do just a little bit better than his teammate so far. And that is a lockup of some sort heading into turn 1. Rotated the car a little strangely for Olami, but I don't think that lost him a whole lot of time. Keeping it to the inside through 3. And almost a little late heading into 4. You won't see him wash very wide, yeah. Kind of strange line through 4, I have to say. Wide of the apex through 5. It's not going too well for Olami. That wasn't nice, says Bradshaw. Yep, it wasn't. Anyway, Olami really having a scruffy lap. Wide of the apex of 9 as well. And of course, usually when I say that, they jump up into P1, so let's see if that'll continue to be the case for Manuel as we head into the long right-hander of turn 12. It's going to keep it flat through 13. And back into the pit lane. Okay, so I was right about that, at least. Who is the Haas? That is Adrazil. Currently on a slow lap, 4 seconds down, and just a little bit more as he loses the rear. We'll cut to Bakalik once again. Heading into the hairpin. Just a little bit of understeer and quite a bit of oversteer as he gets the power down on the exit of the hairpin. Sends the Haas around once again. Does he have enough time to get in, get a new fresh set of tires, and go back out? Maybe. Yeah, probably. Anyway, who is the Alpha Tauri? It's Spanswick. Heading up to the line. Currently P8 improves up into P4 with a 3/10 advantage over his previous best. And it's going to be Callum Lyons on an outlap. Here we go then. Callum Lyons has a nice empty track, clean air, and hopefully going to be finding some improvements to his previous time. Currently P12 with a 1:12.4, and just a couple of tenths would put him up into P9. Still nobody is in the 1:11.9s. There's a bit of a gap between 8th and 9th right now. Let's see what Lyons can do about this one. Down into 2nd through turn 5. Into 7 and 8 now, rides the curb on driver's right, but doesn't unsettle the car too much. Flat through 9, doesn't even need the exit curb. Heading into the hairpin now. Already improving by just over a tenth. Hopefully finding a little bit more through 10, 11, and now 12. using all of the track available to him on the exit of 12. Looks very nice indeed. And how was that not an invalidation on the left-hand side of the track between 13 and 14? Callum Lyons jumps it up into P9 with a 1:11.9. First one in that time. And who is out on track next? It's going to be a Williams. Is that Moore? It's Listowskis. It's Olami going to be out leading this group. So we'll watch him because he has not set a time yet, as he backed off of his previous one. And that is not going to be a very good exit onto the pit straight, unfortunately for Olami, as he was trying to get some temperature into his tires between 13 and 14. I think this is going to be everyone's final runs. Yeah, only a minute 50 left. So Olami's got to make this one count. Let's see if he can do just that. Keeping it to the inside, glued to the apex curve on the right-hand side through turn 3. And a little correction through 4. Once again, doesn't see him using the entire width of the track. Another lockup heading into 5. It's another scruffy lap as there's a huge line of cars. And Manuel Olami has just invalidated what might be his final run. I think, yeah, he's got enough time to recharge the battery again and go once again, but he's going to have to use the same tires. And he won't be able to refuel. Does he have enough fuel? In fact, that's the next question in order to get to the end of this lap. We're going to watch Tuan here, as I've been not keeping the camera on him. He's been, as always, showing some very good pace, and we're going to go to Ade next. Just going to give myself that reminder. It's Tuan heading through turn 4 now. Another driver not very keen to use the outside of 4. Very interesting to see. Does that mean I'm doing something wrong? Can't possibly be. I'm always right. Tuan heading through 7 and 8 now. If I actually start in P11, this will be momentous, says the Red Bull driver. Tuan heading through 10. Nice early apex, uses the exit on turn 11. And into 12 we go now. Ooh, using the inside curve. It's a bit risky. You see the car get lifted up on the right side. It's usually not what the driver wants. And Tuan heading back into the pit lane, not finding the improvement that he would want. Now we're heading on board with Ade, who's getting probably the first amount of screen time in qualifying in the past couple of weeks. As the checkered flag is out, Ade will be the first one to cross the line and take that. And what's it going to be for Ade? A 1:11.3 is the time to beat. Next up is going to be the Mercedes of Lucas Rudd. So we'll catch him as he's improving by just a little bit heading out of Sector 2. Major lift through the final corner. Not going to be carrying a whole lot of speed through like that. P14 at best for Lucas Rudd. Next across the line is not Oscar, but Caleb White, who's into the pit lane. Next across the line is going to be Haas, who's also going to the pit lane. Oscar was on an invalid lap, so we can catch back up with Moore, who is not improving. So we will instead cut to... who is that? AlphaTauri. Is that AlphaTauri? Well, both AlphaTauris have taken the checkered flag. And Swan McMoore definitely does not improve. How about Callum Lyons? He is in the 150s already. And how about Zadrazil? What's Zadrazil up to? Just about to cross the line. Just did cross the line. 1:12.6 for Zadrazil will be the last of the drivers to set a time. And that will do it for qualifying, I do believe. So we'll get the official results here in just a moment. But crucially, Manuel Olami not setting a lap time today. This is his home Grand Prix, isn't it? I forgot about that. Home Grand Prix for Olami. Had 2 attempts at qualifying and didn't set a time on either one. Anyway, it's Ade taking pole from Tuan and George Haas. Behind him is Harry Spanswick and Mehmet Bagkali. Callum Pearson P6, Caleb White 7th, and it's Joe Calvi 8th for the other McLaren. Callum Lyons 9th for Alpine, and Sam Hussein rounding out the top 10 in Ferrari. Swan Wickmore just missing out on the top 10. P11 for him. Adam Bradshaw, P12 in the Red Bull after finding himself crashed out on the exit of turn 2. Oscar, P13 for Alfa Romeo, 14th for Lucas Rudd, 15th for Lestauskas. Zadrazil in 16th, and Bakalik and Olami not setting a time. They are 17th and 18th, respectively. Well, we have an exciting race coming up next. We've got a couple drivers out of position, so I'm sure they're going to be looking to charge through the field early on, so we're going to have to see how that pans out. Is it going to stay dry for the race? Let's take a quick peek. Still cloudy here in Spain. I think that was the only person I saw disconnect. Here we go then. We're ready to get racing already. And it's 5 lights on. And we are racing in Spain. Seems to be a pretty good start from Ade in pole. Is Tuan going to be able to do anything? No, he's got Spanswick and the McLaren of Haas coming at him. That is going to be Tuan down 2 positions. Has the inside for turn 2 and 3. And that's contact between himself and Haas. Sees the McLaren heading off in the background, side by side between Pierce and Bad Cali now, as Callum is going to have the inside line heading into 4 hard tires versus medium tires. Pierce on the inside with a superior grip, going to be keeping his position there. And Calvi wanted to find a way through, but was not quite able to. And that is Callum Pierce coming back into frame in the worst way possible, as he has found himself facing the wrong direction, as well as Bakalik. Now it's Lestauskas racing the AI of Caleb White, who has not been able to rejoin quite yet. I did give him an invite, so hopefully he's able to do that sometime soon. Ade does still lead. It is Spanswick in P2 with Tuan 3rd. I can bring up the tires now. And we have some more yellow flags, although I think we're all good there. Side by side between the Haas of Zadrazil and Adam Bradshaw, who is now up a position, heading into 13. And he's going to be going to the pit lane already on the soft tires. The softs can last at Spain, but is this going to be a front wing change for the Red Bull? I wonder. Further up the field at Sam Hussein and Swanwick Moore, heading side by side into turn 1. Moore has the inside, and Hussein's gonna stick it around the outside to turn 1. Has the inside for turn 2, and he's got that position for himself. Very nicely done. Now it's Oscar and Lyons heading into 4, and it's going to be Oscar on the inside. Has the better line. Can Lyons do a little bit of a switchback? A little difficult to do there. Further up, it is Calvi and Bad Cali fighting it out for P4. And I think that was Calvi just going a little off the track there. Might be getting a warning for his troubles. Hard tires for only a couple drivers on the field. I can finally get to this. Tuan and Bad Cali in 3 and 4 starting on the hard tires, but Bad Cali very much under pressure, and that is a spinning Ferrari in the background of Sam Hussein. Just saw that in the corner of my vision. Able to keep it going, and I don't really think he's hit the barriers, but he's certainly lost himself quite a bit of track position and time. We're going to head right on back to the battle between Bad Cali and Calvi. As they're crossing the line, DRS is going to be enabled this lap. Down. Oh, need another invite. And that was Bad Cali trying to show his nose down the inside of turn 1, but Bad Cali had that covered off. Did I say the right person? Calvi showing his nose down the inside of turn 1, Bad Cali covering him off. Anyway, on to lap 3 we go. They're going to be having DRS down the back straight this time around. Lions on the rear of Lucas Rudd. Nice and close to the Mercedes, but this is the fight that I want to see. As is Calvi going to be finding enough of an exit out of turn 9 to get himself up and past Bad Cali with the DRS. He's not using his battery, so he's just going to wait until the pit straight. Smart thing to do for the most part. It's pretty easy to follow through Sector 3. And another invite. How many do you need, buddy? As, I don't really know what happened there, but Calvi just let Oscar through. Looked like he just pulled off to the right and let the Alfa Romeo go. But anyway, further up the field, we have a battle for the lead. Ade versus Spanswick had the inside, but backed out of that one. And now he's going to be in the slipstream of the Ferrari heading up into turn 4. But he's going to be too far back to make it a dive down the inside. As these two have started to run away from Tuan on the hard tires, making it last at the beginning. And just seeing that was Oscar way offline on the exit of turn 4, or turn 5. But he, oh, Ade spun! Ade is around, and was that contact between himself and Spanswick? I don't think so. You don't usually see people going side by side in turn 9. And, well, that is our pulse hitter. Oh, and he's just smashed his front wing up against the wall. He's probably going to replace it anyway. And we are under VSC for the first time in Spain. See Spanswick taking the lead of the race. Has 2 hard runners behind him as a buffer. First VSC of the day for Ade. Terrible, terrible luck for him, as I had pole by quite a margin. Unfortunately, just found himself into the barriers. I think it was a front wing change for Bradshaw, now that I'm seeing that, as well as Bakalik. And it's now going to be a long pit stop of shame for Ade. And as the VSC comes in, we have a couple of drive-through penalties. Zadrazel and Lestauskas both with drive-throughs. That is going to put quite a damper on their race, as the field is still very, very close together. Now I'm seeing a pass. Oh, that's getting past Caleb White's AI. And Bad Cali is the next one to spin out of turn 9 from the lead. Bad Cali, I think he reset to track, but has he kept his front wing intact? Looks like he has. Rejoins the race in 10th place and has a long road back up to the lead. Or wait. Oh no, it was Spanswick taking the lead. Never mind. Yeah, Bad Cali was a little bit further back. But he was still up in a really good spot. Got the two Alpha Towers mixed up in my head. Now, is this going to be a look down the inside for Lyons on Rudd? He is thinking about it, but not quite able to do so. Meanwhile, it can just be said that Olami has had a very good first 5 laps of the race, up into P7 from last, so looking pretty good for him. Oscar on the back of Calvi. These two have been fighting it out for quite a while. And has a bit of a gap to Rudd behind. And Caleb White has finally been able to join, which is great. Now DRS open for the Alfa Romeo. Not able to find any inroads there, however. I think Olami just taking a little bit of a defensive maneuver just in case someone wanted to throw it down the inside. But I think we're going to see quite a bit of action heading into the pit straight, as Joe Calvi is very much offline heading through 13 and 14. And now it's going to be DRS once again for him. Is he on the battery? It looks like it. And this is going to be Oscar looking for the inside through turn 1 later on the brakes. And he's just got it done. Oscar up into P3. And that is Lyons as well, getting past Lucas Rudd, although they are right nose to tail on the exit of 4. Or on the exit of 3 heading into 4. Rudd's going to be taking the inside into 4. has, well, quite a superior straight line speed. Later braking for Lyons because he wants to hang it around the outside. Now they're going to be side by side heading into 5, and Rudd still has that position. Cooks it way too much going into turn 5. They're going to be side by side once again on the exit. These two just losing time to each other as they bang wheels. And once again, single file heading into 7 and 8. It was quite the battle between those two, but now they're both going to be coming under pressure from Olami. Much better exit out of turn 9 from Lyons, though, wants the outside of 9 for the inside of 10, and he's going to be diving it down the inside of the hairpin. That's Lyons up into 5th now. Is Olami going to be able to follow anyone through? No, he's going to be shoved to the outside through 12. And he's going to try and switch it back to the inside of Rudd, but he's definitely going to have to back out of that one. Rudd still gave him some space, but that would be a very dangerous maneuver to try and pull off. We have a Mercedes off in the background of Callum Pierce. Just give that a passing mention as Rudd and Olami both going to be trying to find their way past Callum Leon, and I think it's going to be Manuel Olami making it 2 for 1 heading into turn 1. Both of them getting past Lyons, but Olami making it past them both. Oh, now I can take a little bit of a breath, I think, because they're not too close to each other heading into 4. Well, Lyons made it close to them in turn 4. As, oh, he's hit the brakes way too late. Smashed into the back of Lucas Rudd, and that might just be some front wing damage for him. Yep, he's lost his end plate. Not quite sure what happened there. Was Rudd hoping to take the inside and then changed his mind, I wonder. Now we have Caleb White way out of position. And, oh, here is a battle for position, in fact. That is Moore getting past Callum Lyons. Yep, definitely some damage on the front wing for the Alpine. Really unfortunate to see as he was having a very, very fun battle to watch. But I think that might just... Oh, wow. That was Bad Cali just about losing the rear of his AlphaTauri on the exit of 12. So I was saying that we weren't going to be seeing many mistakes from our drivers here today, but I think F2 is proving me wrong, as Lucas Rudd now has the run on Olami, heading it down the inside of turn 1. Didn't even need the braking zone to do it. As Rudd back up into 5th position. Still great recovery drive so far from Olami. See if he can still keep gaining time. Up at the front, it is still Spanswick leading by just under 2 seconds from Tuan, who is really making those hard tires work, not really losing any time to anyone behind, as Oscar and Calvi have been fighting it out for the entire race, so they've been losing each other some time. And then we have a battle for P9 between Caleb White and George Hawes. Both of these drivers having some issues one way or another at the beginning of the race, seeing them a little bit out of position. But Caleb White is hustling the back of Sam Hussein there in the Ferrari. And I have a feeling he's going to be wanting to get past as soon as possible. Is he going to try it down the inside of the hairpin? No, he's not. Although he might just be able to. I don't really think he wanted to, but I think Hussein was a little early on the brakes and, well, really rather invited White down the inside of the hairpin. Now he's up into P9. Was that, I wonder, was that intentional from Hussein? As he's now going to have the DRS for himself heading down into turn 1. And the pit straight is a much better DRS zone than the back straight. Well, I think Hussein is going to be back up into P9. And then is it going to be Hawes trying to get past White as well? No, it isn't. White has to go defensive, but we just saw the harvesting light flashing on the back of the Alfa Romeo. And that is going to be blood in the water for the Shark of George Hawes, because he has pretty much a full battery sitting there. White trying it in the inside on the exit of 4. And Adam Bradshaw is out of the race, wouldn't you know, on the exit of turn 2, although this time I think he went to driver's right instead of driver's left. And now we have a full safety car. So what's it going to be? What's it going to be for the strategy call for the front runners? The medium runners are definitely going to be coming in. Tuan stays out, so there's the call. Hard tires might just stay out. Oscar coming in. That is Calvi going to be on his way in as well. I think all the medium starters are going to be on the hard tires now. Rudd just took out the braking board heading into the final corner. Okay. Back Pally is in, so one of our other hard starters into the pit lane for fresh tires. What is Ferrari strat from Tuan? Yeah, the tire wear isn't too bad around Spain. You can get away with using the softs for a while, but it's kind of no man's land for the hard starters, I feel like, because the mediums aren't going to be feeling great at the end. Certainly not as good as the hards are going to be. But Bad Cali in for new mediums. Calvi in for new mediums. Did he start on the hards as well? He must have. Or is that his second stop? No. I think I'm getting the McLarens mixed up again. Should have gone for softs. Well, I don't think softs are going to make it 22 laps. High risk of safety car. Once tires have already clipped. Well, this is the first full safety car of the day. So... Oh, Tuan's tires have already clipped, so they're gonna... Yeah, but this is only 10 laps in. Anyway, he's going to be hoping that safety cars breed another safety cars because everybody else is on a new set of tires. So... He would have lost one position if he boxed. You're probably right about that, now that you mention it. Yeah, because he would still just be behind Spanswick. And Spanswick has 10-lap pressure hard tires, yeah. Tuan's going to get swallowed up here, unfortunately. 2.8 per lap for 9 racing laps, 25.2%. I mean, that's not bad, 25%. I mean, they're not fresh, but it could be a lot worse. I don't know if I'd call that clipped. But anyway, here we are. Have you seen the graph? No, graphs are for nerds, and I'm a nerd. Yeah. I can't even say that. But anyway. Tires have a cliff from 19 to 25%. So you're overthinking it. I never think this hard when I race. I just push the gas pedal. Anyway. 25% C4s have less grip than 19% C1s. Okay. Thank you for that. I'm back again. Yeah, welcome back. Was it just a bit of a traction loss on the exit of turn 1? Or did you hit a curb? Can we get some words from Bradshaw in the chat? Quick impromptu interview as the safety car is going to be going around for one more lap. Bottomed out on the turn 2 inside curb, corrected into the wall. Yep, that'll do it. Had damage from lap 1, so it was inevitable. Yep, saw that early pit stop from you. Very unfortunate. Right then, safety car in this lap. We're going to watch this from Oscar's point of view, see how Tuan gets on with the restart. I'm sure he can do something to try and catch Spanswick off guard. And get himself a little bit of a gap before he gets swallowed up by the field. He's already got a little bit of a gap ahead, but safety cars are not into the pit lane yet. Can't quite go. And he's going now, and Spanswick was ready for it. Oscar, not so much. But I think we're going to see a pass for position in about 1 corner's time. As we are crossed the start and finish line, and it's side by side, and Spanswick is already up into P1 with his nose ahead of Tuan, and he's got the position, but Tuan somehow able to hold it out around the outside of turn 1, edges Spanswick out to the outside of the track, and now Spanswick's got to defend from Oscar in P3. So good defensive driving from Tuan, trying to make the most of it. And now Spanswick's trying to shove it around the outside of Tuan. Are they going to make it 3 wide heading into turn 5? They are, and fortunately enough, someone got ahead before they went to the apex, or else it would have been 3 cars into the outside wall. But now Spanswick up into P1. Tuan's going to be having dirty air along with those 13-lap-old tires. So it might just be a little bit of pain for Tuan as it stands, but I think he might be going in for a late stop onto the soft safety car or not. Now it's Oscar around the outside, and it's contact between himself and Tuan. Oscar is forced to the outside of the track. Sorry for my terrible camera work, as Oscar rejoins the track in P7. So Tuan very aggressively defending one way or another, and this is just making a big gap between the leader of Harry Spanswick and literally everybody else, as Joe Calvi is now the next one to try and take the position from Tuan. I don't think even Tuan can defend down a straight. And now it's 2 wide between Olami and Rudd once again as they're heading into turn 1, and I literally can't see what's going on, but Olami is still ahead of Rudd because he has gotten passed by Bad Cali in the AlphaTauri up ahead. Oscar still in P7. Now it's Alfa Romeo 7 and 8. As now it is Olami going to be the next one to try and take that position away from Tuan. And doesn't find any inroads in turn 5, just about getting pushed through the corner by Bad Cali. As he's trying to be a little bit safe is Olami. As maybe it raced Tuan. Oh, Tuan has just made a mistake. Easy to lose the rears there, especially as the tires are starting to degrade. And thankfully, Ghost's back onto the track because he would have just gotten absolutely slaughtered. Speaking of absolutely slaughtered, Vilius Lestauskas has found himself facing the wrong direction on track. And is that Ade as well? Yes, it is. So that's the second incident of the day for Ade. And Lestauskas is trying his best to get it out of the gravel trap. And he is, well, quite a ways away from the rest of the action, as Tuan is still trying to defend whatever position he can defend. He's having fun, I'm sure. Down to P12 now after leading that safety car restart. DRS enabled once again, and I'm trying to see who is close to who, and I think the closest gap right now is Pierce and Hussein. As they're heading through 2, Ade gets a 5-second penalty. I'm sure he's going to retire, and there it is. Very unfortunate day for our pole sitter, finding himself the wrong side of 2 incidents. And out of the race. Caleb White doing well to follow Lucas Rudd through 7 and 8. Although not making any inroads down the back straight. Hawes just taking a look at the racing line, I'm sure. As everyone very close to each other, but not quite close enough to make any moves. As Backlick gets the first track limits penalty of the day. That's always an achievement. As we are over halfway through now. And what is it out of turn 9? Is it Hussein getting a good run on White? Not quite. As everyone's just keeping it clean heading into turn 1. Manuel Olami up into P3 now as well. Very much worth mentioning. Has Calvi up ahead of him. Not too far away. The two of these have actually been able to bring the gap down between themselves and Spanswick. I'm sure they've been pushing very hard to do just that, and Spanswick's probably just keeping his battery charged up, as I don't see much in the tank for Olami. Telemetry up. Get that. Yep, these two have been pushing quite hard. We will look further back for Hawes, who was trying to have a run on the outside, or on the exit of turn 9. But not quite able to do so on this occasion. Stop giving me that weird camera angle. I don't like it. As we are now onto lap 18, and everyone is sort of starting to bottle up behind Oscar. Still has DRS on the car ahead to be able to defend from any moves from anyone behind. Hussein sticks his nose down the inside, doesn't find anything there. Neither does Callum Pierce. Did the race start on time? Yes, it did. Happily so, as Manuel Olami is through up into second place from Calvi. And now I'm seeing Rudd going defensive into turn 5, though that might be losing him some time to Oscar, or to Caleb White, rather, who tried it down the inside, but don't really want to be going side by side through 7 and 8. Very difficult to do. So on the back straight we go once again. Everyone keeping it to the right, nobody diving it down to the left quite yet. Everyone just biding their time, although Caleb White just a little bit offline there might give an opportunity to Hussein, but he's just caught him a little bit, hasn't been able to get past. As Rudd is very close to the back of Oscar once again. Washes out wide on the exit of the final corner. I'm sure he's got to be pushing his battery now. He needs to get past Oscar. He's only losing time behind the Alfa Romeo. Has a nose down the inside, doesn't find it though. We're gonna go on board with Oscar to watch the fight between Bad Cali and Calvi, as Calvi just loses out to Bad Cali. And now it's Oscar on the inside, following him through. Rudd's gonna try and follow him through as well as they head into 4, side by side between the Mercedes and the McLaren. How are they going to emerge? It is Rudd up ahead. So getting pushed offline just that little bit by Bad Cali getting P3 has demoted Calvi all the way down to P6. That's just how close we are racing here today in GRS F2, and we've only had one safety car, and that wasn't even because of any hard racing. That was because of Adam Bradshaw. Heading into the hairpin once again we go. Keep flipping between our drivers because keep finding a gap that's just that little bit closer. And I want to see the passes when they happen. Rudd once again on the rear of Oscar, who's wide through 13. Lucas has really just got to make this one go. I saw he had a lot of battery, but he's not using it. He's just not using it. I don't know what the call is. He can easily get past the Alfa Romeo. And, well, he's not, as Oscar has a look down the inside of Bad Cali through 1. Goes very wide through 1, did Oscar, and now he is coming under pressure from Rudd finally. As they head side by side through 3, and Rudd's going to get absolutely boxed in as he tries to stick it around the outside of 4. Bad Cali goes wide through 4, so that promotes Oscar up into 3rd, and that is Hussein heading through up into 5th, and now it's Calvi trying to get that position from Rudd as well. Backlick retires into the pit lane, so that won't be a safety car. As we go side by side up ahead between Hussein and Bad Cali, and I think that's usually about how it goes side by side through 7 and 8. Bad Cali has spun it into the walls, and, well, that's really unfortunate to see. As we see Caleb White on the inside of turn 10, not finding any positions on the McLaren ahead of him. How is War not fired Bradshaw? I've been thinking about that. Maybe I should join WR. If Bradshaw can do it, surely I can. But anyway, Caleb White using every little bit of his battery that he has available to him. We'll be harvesting that at some point during the lap, and he's going to be going that little bit slower than his rivals. Lap 21 of 23, Bad Cali gets himself a penalty for speeding into the pits. However, he hasn't retired, so he's going to keep it in the race. But the bulk of the action is happening from P3 downwards. as Oscar has actually managed to get himself a gap between himself and the rest of the group. Sam Hussein is starting to close that down, however. And now, this is what happens when Rudd doesn't chase anyone down for any positions, as the person he was sitting behind and could have easily passed at some point is sitting up in the podium positions, and Rudd's still in P5. However, I think that might just about change, as Sam Hussein is right up the gearbox of Oscar, and he has the DRS. Oscar does not have it for himself to be able to defend. Hussein's going to go around the outside into turn 1 and doesn't need the braking zone either. Heads up into P3. And now look at the gap between Rudd and Oscar. It's not quite what he'd want to see. So 11 laps to go. Everyone has taken their pit stops. A couple people in the back there a little off strategy after some incidents. So if what Quill says is correct, then we are going to see the hard tires start to slow down a little bit. However, really the only person that can take advantage of that right now is Calvi. He's on the mediums, and I'm sure those have already hit their cliff as well, as he has been having to push pretty hard to keep his P5. However, Caleb White really hasn't been able to make any inroads. So we will have to see what happens, as Oscar is now on the rear of Sam Hussein, who has caught the DRS of Olami ahead of him. Is this going to be Oscar trying it around the outside? Nope. Hussein just had the perfect line there. It was on the inside enough to prevent Oscar from diving it down, and it was on the outside enough to prevent Oscar from diving it around the outside. So nicely placed there from Hussein. Didn't lose much time in throwing that little defensive maneuver. Just exactly what he needed to do there. Ooh, trying it down the inside was Caleb White. Maybe has a little bit more grip under braking now that the mediums are definitely wearing away as compared to the hards. Although has a much better run through 7 and 8 does Calvi. Although runs very, very wide. He's going to be slowed down the pit straight, and Caleb White is going to try it down the inside into the hairpin. Just gets his nose up alongside the McLaren, but gets a little bit of a tap for his troubles. And, well, Hawes was trying to make it around the outside of Caleb White, and Caleb just about turned... Ooh. Caleb just about turned left in a right-hander, but that is Callum Pierce turning right on a straight, as he is off in between turns 12 and 13. Rejoins P9 and probably well under pressure from Zadrazil, as Sam Hussein has gotten himself up past Manuel Olami in the Red Bull. Oh, and that is a spinning Alfa Romeo in the foreground. Oscar losing the rear through turn 3, and that brings out the VSC as he loses his front wing. Hopefully doesn't get himself beached. Waits for the rest of the cars to get past him despite being ghosted. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And Oscar rejoins the track in P9, and -1 front wing. Unfortunate to see. He's been showing some pretty good pace today. Good racecraft as well, defending his positions. I guess we can take the little bit of a downtime to say that up at the front, Spanswick still leads by over 2.5 seconds. Now from Sam Hussein, the new man in P2, and that was a very, very short virtual safety car as we're getting going already. It looks like everyone is, no one's really gained or lost anything from that. I about said losed. So there is... Okay, that's Lyons getting past Oscar now as he goes into the pit lane for his stop for a new front wing. Unfortunate to see, especially so close to the end of the race. So now it's Rudd with the half-full battery, behind Olami with the quarter-full battery, and Hussein with the third full battery. Is Rudd going to be able to pull something off here at the end of the race and just absolutely dump his battery down the pit straight and get himself past these two and up into second place, although he does have the penalty. What's the penalty? 3 seconds for track limits. So anybody that he gets ahead of, he needs to clear by 3 seconds in order to keep the position of, and right now that would only demote him 1 place behind Caleb White, who is about 2 seconds away from him. So he needs to gain a second on White in order to keep his P4. So might not be going super aggressive if he sees that he's over 3 seconds away from the guy behind, because I don't really think he would be able to pull 3 seconds from Hussein or Olami, but you never really know, as Olami gets back up past into second place, past Sam Hussein. Just caught that at the end. Wasn't really thinking he would be going for a move, but he sure did. And up into second he goes. Further back, it's Calvi versus Tuan for P9. That's Calvi taking the inside into turn 1, getting himself up into P9. And Rudd has made a mistake. I just saw the quick yellow flag. I thought that was for someone in the back. But Rudd has made the mistake. So he has dropped away from everyone else and still has a 3-second time penalty to his name. So that's a bit of a double whammy for him right there. That does alleviate some pressure from these two who really only need to race each other. Hussein and Olami going to be fighting it out for P2. And I don't really know if Olami was expecting that after his qualifying. But that's where he finds himself. Somehow able to weave his way through the field and up into second place. Now, I'm sure this is going to be Sam Hussein through back into second place with that DRS. Olami has nothing left to defend with, although Hussein backs out of it for the most part. I think he's just going to absolutely bleed the battery of Olami dry. That's not a bad strategy. He doesn't need to worry about anyone behind him right now as Callum Pierce gets past his teammate of Rudd. Because Hussein doesn't need to worry about Caleb White. He's just about 3 seconds away. He can just sit behind Olami and make absolutely certain he's got no battery left to defend and overtake, and then finally execute it when the moment is right. So I think this is about the first time in the race that the field has actually spread out, which is very surprising given the single safety car. Well, that's just how close the racing is here in Global Racing Series. If you would like to join, we have links to the Discord as Sam Hussein dives it down the inside of Olami and loses the rear as he tries to get the power down on the exit of turn 10. Is he going to lose this position? Well, he's lost it to Caleb White already. Now he's losing another one to Hawes. And I'm sure those rear tires are not going to be in their optimal temperature window after pirouetting the car back into the orientation that it needs to be in. So that alleviates some pressure from Olami, who can charge up his battery just that little bit, but he's lost a lot of time to Caleb White, who's only about 2 seconds away. And further up the field, that is Lestauskas losing it on his own between 7 and 8, and he has beached his Williams. Please reset to track. You are able to do that if you are beached. I don't quite know if he's aware of that, although he's been able to dislodge his Williams from the curb. And Oscar has retired from the session, brings out the full safety car. He's lost it in between 12 and 13. I think he's lost it on his own because the car ahead of him, Swanwick Moore, I think he was a ways ahead. Not entirely certain what's happened there. It's easy, especially as the tires start to degrade. It's easy to lose the rears as the driver tries to put down the throttle, especially if they hit the inside curve. The inside curve really lifts the car up and sends it on its way. Anyway, I'm sure this will be stops for soft tires for everyone in the top 8, and Calvi's in a weird spot because he's probably already used his only saved set from qualifying, so might be going on to ever so slightly used softs because they will just be that little bit newer, and Tuan will probably be in as well. Puts Bad Cali in a weird spot as well. Swanwick Moore is already pitted under the safety car. Huh? Oh, this is some I do not agree at all with this strategy that I'm seeing on my screen right now. Spenswick and Olami staying out on track, the top two staying out, not going in for the softs, and Spenswick having to stop on track to not pass a safety car. Yeah, I quite disagree with that. I don't really... I mean... Oh, I sort of agreed with Tuan at first because he was in a weird spot. Wouldn't really be able to bring mediums to the end, so like maybe stay out for Tuan, but I mean 18 lap old hards, you gotta come in. Absolutely have to. Even if they used all 3 sets of soft tires during qualifying, you gotta go in. Callum Pierce stays out as well. I mean, these top two, they're not going to be gaining anything by doing this. Surely not. There's only 4 laps to go, but that's 4 laps of fresh soft tires charging up behind them. Oh, man. Well, we will see what happens. Maybe the entire tier implodes behind them and Spenswick can still escape with a win. Although, in my professional opinion, I do believe they have just thrown away any chances of a podium, have these two. Callum Pierce is running in the podium positions, has a time penalty. That's 3 seconds for him. So, all of a sudden, Caleb White is my favorite to win. I have to say, he's been flying along on the fresh soft tires. First one on the fresh softs, and Callum Pierce is into the pit lane now. Okay, so he just wasn't able to before. Haas is in. Why is Haas in? He's already on new soft tires. Is he getting rid of that 5-second penalty, I wonder? Yes, he's serving the 5-second penalty. Okay. I suppose I can agree with that. Anyway, Caleb White, still my favorite to win today. Sam Hussein's been doing pretty well, so we might be able to pass White and take that win. Don't think Rudd is going to be able to overcome that penalty. Zudrazil could pick up the pieces of something absolutely catastrophic happening in front, which could very well happen with 2 hard tires ahead of the rest of the field on fresh soft. So we will see what happens. This is certainly an interesting development in GRS F2. I will get rid of the telemetry because that's starting to get annoying. And here we go. I don't... is the safety car going to be called in this lap? That is the question. I don't remember how many... I think it can still go another lap, if I remember correctly. Oh, safety car is in this lap, in fact. So here we go. This is going to be it. And now, Harry Spenswick takes control. Who is that Williams? Is that Lestauskas? It is. Okay. Lapped car in between everyone, so he's going to be... Oh, I think he's trying to give up that position prematurely. Is Caleb White going to be able to take it under the safety car? Looks like it. He's not trying to give it back, and here we go. We are racing for the final 3 laps in GRS F2 at Spain, and you can just see the grip difference already. Caleb White got... Oh, because he got past... He got past Lestauskas, who was trying to give him the position. Might argue that one in stewarding, honestly. But anyway, Caleb White trying it around the outside of Olami, who defends for what it's worth. But I don't think he's going to be able to defend against this one. Heading around the outside of turn 3. Forces his rival wide, does Olami, but Caleb White with the grip advantage up into second place, and now he's going to be chasing down the lead. Wasn't a very good restart for Sam Hussein, who now finally finds himself past Olami, and now it's going to be Caleb White on the inside of turn 7, and making, well, trying to make Spenswick back out of that one. Oh, that is a huge collision between, I think that was Spenswick and Sam Hussein, who had some wonderful pace here today. That's not what you want to see. Caleb White does take the lead of the race. That's a Haas without a front wing in the background as well. So the carnage has kicked off. Is that, yeah, it's Zudrazil and the Haas in P6 without a front wing. Terrible time for that to happen. Lap 31 of 33, and now Olami is holding up the rest of the field to Caleb White, even if he doesn't get the penalty repealed in stewarding. It is a 5-second penalty, and he's only got under 3 seconds to Olami, but now it's going to be Calvi pushing his battery for all it's worth into turn 1. Doesn't have the DRS, so he doesn't have that much of a straight line speed advantage. Has a grip advantage heading into turn 1, though. And Olami's trying to defend everything that he can. He's able to do so. Credit to him. 21 lap old tires compared to fresh softs. We got some people into the pit lane. Yeah, that's Hussein. That's Haas. That's Zadrazil. Really unfortunate stuff for them. But Calvi's still not able to find his way past Olami. And now Tuan, all of a sudden, we saw him with that spin earlier on in the race, able to get himself back up into P4 on the restart, taking advantage of the chaos. He's already pushed his battery down to 20%. There's only a couple more laps left to go, and he's just trying to harry on the McLaren ahead of him, pushing him through the corner. I think he just got pushed from Callum Pierce as well. The soft runners having to make way for the hard tire runner up ahead of Olami. And now surely he's going to have a better exit onto the pit straight. Has a little bit more battery as well. So now Calvi's finally on his way past. Tuan's on his way past. Callum Pierce gets himself past. And now Olami is down into 5th position after the safety car restart. 4 seconds the gap between Calvi and Caleb White. That was a Ferrari just got himself despawned. Oh, I think that was the retire. Oh, a huge collision between Tuan and... Was that Calvi up ahead of him? Yeah. What has happened between those two on the exit of turn 3 this time? I'm not entirely certain. Olami's still trying to defend for all of his might, but Swanwick Moore just got himself past. Now it's Callum Lyons, the next one, trying to get past. Bagcali gets himself up past Tuan. What in the world happened to Tuan? Oh, Olami's lost it. He's into the wall. Olami, going from fighting for P2, just lost it on the outside of turn 8. And that is him out of his home Grand Prix after a beautiful recovery drive. There's a McLaren off the track. That's Joe Calvi off the track on the exit of turn 11. Callum Pierce in P2 has a penalty as well. So now Caleb White definitely has the win of the race. And I forgot that it was the last lap. Caleb White just won in GRS F2 from Joe Calvi and Harry Swanwick Moore. Callum Pierce coming home P5. Lions in P6. Bagcali is going... Lions in P5. Bagcali is going to be P6. Then it's going to be Tuan all the way down into P7. I really want to see the clip of what happened to him. I wasn't expecting... That was a huge collision between himself and the car ahead. Just as I cut to him. Wow. Well, that was a huge flurry of action at the end of the race. And now Zadrazil gets himself back past. Or, across the line. Up into P9, though. Everyone fighting for whatever position they could find. How Olami was able to defend that hard on such old hard tires, I have absolutely no idea. But that is Caleb White. On the top step of the podium, he had that 5-second penalty. I'm probably going to repeal it. But really doesn't need to because everyone else was fighting so hard behind him. We're just about speechless. Wow. Well, I think after that there's going to be a lot of people thinking if they did just one thing slightly differently, they could have been on the top step of the podium. But today it's going to be Caleb White taking the win from Joe Calvi and Harry Swanwick Moore on the podium. It's going to be Callum Pierce in P4, Callum Leons in P5, Bagcali down to P6, and Tuan, who was fighting it out for some really good positions, found himself without a front wing on the final lap of the race. P7 for him. Lucas Rudd, P8, and it's 9th for Zadrazil. P10 for Haas. Not quite sure what happened there on the final lap of the race for Haas, but P10 for him, and then it's going to be... well, Olami technically counted as a finisher, but crashed his Red Bull in the final couple of laps, as well as Listowskis. Sam Hussein found himself retiring early. Harry Spanswick retired early. Oscar crashed out. Backlick, Ade, and then Adam Bradshaw finishing last in F2. So, that was probably one of the most exciting races in Spain that I've probably ever seen, either in real life or in a league race. But unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, and that is us right now coming to an end. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. Please do drop a like on the stream if you enjoyed what you saw and you want to watch it later. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing the rest of the races. F1 races on Wednesday at Spain, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun. So we will at least see you next week in F2, same time, same channel. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time.